I've been living in Pakistan and working here for almost 2 years now. And good God, are there a lot of bad news. Every day, a lot of frustrations, a lot of problems, a lot of water cars. And one cannot help but sometimes feel very helpless, depressed. And one thing that really keeps me going, that inspires me, and I think that keeps a lot of people that work with me, beside me, going, is the extraordinary wealth of this country. And I'm not talking about the fauna and flora, and I'm not talking about the minerals of Balochistan. I'm talking about this country's most amazing, most wondrous wealth. And this is Pakistan's youth, you guys here. And every day across this country, thousands, millions of young people are doing extraordinary work for their communities and for this country. Some of them, like Golalai Ismail, who founded an organization called Aware Girls in Peshawar, where each year she helps 8,000 women organize and claim their rights and have healthy and productive lives. 8,000 every year in Peshawar. People like Madiba Afridi, who's from the Sholabar tribe in Khyber Agency in Fatah. She created the Fatah Youth Forum, organizes people in their community, advocates with politicians, especially on rights to education. She's now working on the Fatah Youth Strategy. People like Saima Anwar, who's the first female lawyer in Malakan Division. She now finished school, worked in legal aid, opened her private practice. She's now helping hundreds of women every year to navigate the legal system, represent their interests, and defend their property rights, custody, inheritance. And next year, you'll have 100 more Saimas in Malakan Division working every day, helping women go through the legal system. Or there's people like Vakas, is from a small town called Okara in Punjab. And he revived the ancient craft of shoemaking. He founded a company called Markor, who now has offices in Lahore, has offices in San Francisco, exporting shoes all around the world. His company is not only producing shoes and accessories, but is inspiring hundreds and hundreds of young people to follow in his footsteps. Many, many people, thousands of people like Khadija, like them, like Malala, they deserve a prize. They deserve a prize because of the work they're doing, but what unites them is that all of them have fought very hard against apathy. They have organized and built up their communities, and they have become agents of change. That's extraordinarily inspiring and encouraging. And when I say that Pakistan's youth is the biggest wealth, I mean this both figuratively and literally. Pakistan's median age is 22 years old. Median age in China is 34. Japan, 45. 65% of Pakistan is below 30 years old. That's 56 million people between 14 and 21. These are workers and consumers, the so-called productive age. And this means that the demographic dividend is not a myth. Elsewhere in East Asia, for example, in the 1990s, economists say that 40% of the economic miracle was due to young people entering the workforce. We've made calculations that in Pakistan, that would mean, if we include these young people in the workforce, that means $5.5 billion each year. That's an IMF program every year into the economy. But this is a bit like the comet, Professor. They only come on around once. And this is a one-in-a-lifetime, one-in-a-generation opportunity. in Pakistan has 35 years to take advantage of this opportunity. After that, the population will grow older and very, very quickly. To understand how wealthy we are and how wealthy we could be in Pakistan, we need to look at the three drivers of youth development: education, employment, and engagement. If we look at education, there's plenty of really bad news there. 25 million kids out of school, 56% of kids in poor households don't go to school, and I won't even tell you the numbers for the rural areas. Very, very preoccupying. But there's also really good news. Girls' education, for example, in 10 years, primary enrollment for girls between 2000 and 2010 has gone up 26 percentage points. And for lower secondary education, 22 percentage points. Employment. Well, 1 in 10 young people, many of you perhaps here in the room, are not in stable employment. And 36% of those spend more time going around doing CVs, looking for work, than actually doing the work that they're hired for. But at the same time, the unemployment rate in Pakistan is very low, 7%. It's 17 in Sri Lanka, 24 in France, and 55 in Greece. So there's a lot of potential there. And as you probably know, the ecosystem of entrepreneurship in Pakistan is growing very, very rapidly. There's 12 universities now that have incubators. There's organizations like Startup Week, Startup Weekend, Youth Forum, or Packathon that are there to support entrepreneurs, bring them together. There's also organizations like Tech 8 Hub or Peshawar 2.0 that are spaces that use technology to support entrepreneurs. For engagement, well, we all know the vulnerability of young to violence and radicalization. And frankly, young people have absolutely no trust in politics and in institutions. When we're asking youth about how much they trust those institutions, only 10% of them say that they trust them. But at the same time, you guys are voting, yeah? 6 million new voters at the last elections. 40% of the MNAs in the National Assembly and many more in the provincials are under the age of 40 years old. This is exceptional in the region, yeah? And at the same time, when we ask young people if they trust their communities, if they have trust in their communities, more than 85% of them say they do. So there's a lot of potential there. But let's look at how to seize this opportunity. And of course, to seize this opportunity, the government, the businesses, society at large will have to take some pretty serious steps. Pretty bold measures will need to be taken. But more importantly, I think, is what the young men and women of Pakistan will do. What are the choices that you will be making? In education, to fulfill the full enrollment in primary and secondary education at a quality level, of course, it's all about more money. More money is needed. But more importantly, it's going to be fighting depoliticization and ensuring that corruption in the education system stops. It's, of course, about the quality of teachers and the quality of education, but mostly, it's about having data and bringing this data in the hands of citizens so they can hold their teachers and their decision makers accountable. It's also like the example of Madiba. What you can do, like Madiba did, is volunteer, engage with your community to monitor the performance of teachers. Engage with your politicians and make them accountable to their decisions and make it clear that you won't vote for them next time if their promises are not reached. In employment, of course, it's about highways, it's about dams, it's about power plant, but it's a lot more about skills development and access to markets, rural roads, and credit. It's, of course, about increasing taxation, reducing the privilege of rich businessmen. But it's especially for young people today, reducing red tape, helping them establish new businesses, and ensuring that contracts are enforced in a fair way. Like Vacas, please reach out to role models in your communities. Ask them to mentor you. Reach out to other entrepreneurs come together and ask one of those organizations to support you, provide you credit. For engagement, how do we do to have an engaged public? Well, a lot of it, of course, is about internal democracy in political parties. But it's also about religious organizations, NGOs, businesses, being transparent and democratic about the way they operate. It's about a more responsible media, as Doctor was mentioning. But it's a lot as well about teachers, about parents engaging with their community and making sure that they're engaged in the lives of the schools. As the example of Madiba and Saima, you need to get out there and organize your community. You need to make sure that people know what your rights are and that you're able to fight for them. So what is the good news of Pakistan? You are the good news of Pakistan. And what really inspires me is that these people, like Madiba, like Golalai, Saima, and Vakas, and thousands of others, they have not stood up there and dreamt and waited for somebody else to come and resolve their problem for them. They have taken their future, they have taken the future of their communities in their own hands, and they have realized and made us open our eyes to the greatest wealth of Pakistan. If they can do so, you can. Thank you very much.